The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on TOMz Radio Toronto are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of TOMz Radio Toronto or its staff. These broadcasts are presented and made public as entertainment and general information only, in the hope that they will be entertaining and informative to listeners. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate in any way any disease or condition or to promote any specific lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice, nor is the information presented necessarily accurate or verifiable.
Nagbabalik po ang Balitang Bayan News at 4 p.m. April 21, 2021. Ito pa rin po inyong kaibigan, Mondatol. Top of the news, Biden to help produce secure more vaccines. Washington, U.S. President Joe Biden says the United States plans to provide Canada with more help in procuring COVID-19 vaccine. Biden says he spoke today with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on the subject. He says the White House is looking at what to do with vaccines that aren't currently used in the U.S. That's likely a reference to the Oxford AstraZeneca shot, which has been approved for use by Health Canada but not by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The U.S. has already provided Canada with about 1.5 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine and gave 2.5 million doses to Mexico. The president says he spoke with Trudeau today for about half an hour, describing him as someone who is working hard to help his country deal with the pandemic. Alright, COVID-19 infections in Ontario shoot back past 4,200 with ICU admissions near 800. Wow. Deadline Toronto, April 21, COVID-19 infections in Ontario shot back past 4,200 today as the number of patients in an intensive care unit with the disease nears 800. The 4,212 new cases mark a sharp increase over Tuesday's total when 3,469 were logged. Before that, daily case numbers in the province had remained above 4,000 mark for the better part of the week. Today's report also marks the highest number of patients Ontario has ever seen in an ICU with COVID-19. Of the 2,335 in hospital with the disease, 790 are being treated in intensive care and 566 are breathing with the assistance of a ventilator. Labs across the province processed 51,877 tests in the last 24-hour period, yielding a possibility rate of 7.9 according to the Minister of Health, which is down from the 10% recorded a day earlier. Since the pandemic began, Ontario has logged 429,123 lab-confirmed cases of the disease, including 378,417 recoveries and 7,789 deaths. Data provided by the government shows that 32 of those deaths were reported in the last 24 hours alone. This brings the active number of COVID-19 infections across the province to 42,917. The 7-day average for number of cases reported is 4,326. This time last week, the number was 4,208. Most of the cases reported today were found in Toronto with 1,249 Peel region with 771 and York region with 386. Other public health units that reported cases in numbers in the triple digits include Hamilton with 276, Durham region with 214, Niagara region with 201, Ottawa 177, Halton region with 168, Simcoe Muskoka with 124, Waterloo with 120, and Middlesex London with 117. Ontario is under a province-wide stay-at-home order until at least May 20. Well, rumors are brewing around now for an early federal election. Well, let's read a story about it. A pair of proposed changes to the federal budget put forward by opposition parties will determine whether the minority Liberal government will fall, triggering a process that could culminate in an election. The government said it has informed opposition parties that 2 votes in the House of Commons on a block Quebec sub-amendment today and a conservative amendment Thursday or tomorrow are considered confidence votes. Well, a third opportunity to pass judgment on the massive budget comes next Monday when the House votes on the main motion to approve the government's budget policy. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal government needs the backing of at least one of the 3 main opposition parties to survive a vote of confidence and avoid the imminent possibility of tumbling the country into an election campaign as it juggles the COVID-19 pandemic, the country, or possibility of tumbling the country into an election. The 3 New Democrats will vote in favor of the bloc sub-amendment that seeks to beef up health transfers and old security payments, but the rest of the 24-member NDP caucus will vote against it in order to prop up the government on a confidence matter, said NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. The 3 yes will signal New Democrat support in principle for the move while steering clear of toppling the government, Singh said. Well, Canadians have said as well that having an election right now would be unfair and unsafe for them. And I agree, Singh told reporters this morning and added, I will not be voting for an election. Probably that answers it all. Because only an opposition backup to his minority Liberal Party could prevent a spring or rather a fall election. Aba, nakuha na ni Prime Minister Trudeau itong si Singh. Ayaw din ni Singh ng election. So, I've heard rumors from the Liberal Party itself that even the Prime Minister wants to have, experimental probably, mag-election sa fall. Kumpiyansa si Tito, Justin ni Tita Cecil Araneta. Nako, pag nag-election, kung madali kayo ng PC, nako, todas. Well, sa pagpapatuloy po ng ating 4 o'clock news, US naglabas ng travel advisory versus Pilipinas. Nako, dateline ni Washington. Pinagbawalan ng Estados Unidos ang kanilang mga mamamayan na magtungo sa Pilipinas dahil sa mataas na kaso ng COVID-19. Patay. Sa inilawas na travel advisor ng US Department, sinabi nito na hindi dapat magtungo dito sa Pilipinas ang mga Amerikano dahil sa very high risk level ng COVID-19 bukod sa pagtaas ng krimen, terorismo, civil unrest at kidnapping. Naku po. Do not travel to the Philippines due to COVID-19. Additionally, exercise increased caution due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, and kidnapping. Well, yan po ang nakasaan sa travel advisory ng US State Department. Nabati din sa travel advisory na naglabas ang Center for Disease Control and Prevention or CDC ng Amerika na Level 4 travel notice sa Pilipinas dahil sa napakataas na kaso ng COVID-19. Macau, baka abutin na raw po na 1,000,000 bago magkatapusan ng Abril. Well, kung hindi naman umano maiiwasan ang pagpunta sa Pilipinas, ay dapat makumpleto ang bakuna at sumunod sa health protocols at huwag pupunta sa Mindanao, lalo na sa mga bayang tulad ng Marawi City at Sulu, Patikul. Ayun, nako, bawal to pala ron. Nak ng dragon, yun ang ating sinasabi. Alright. Dual citizen ng Pilipinas. Mabigat to. Dual citizens should show proof of citizenship to enter the Philippines. Naku po, mahirap magbiyahe ngayon yung walang... Ito, basahin natin istorya. The Department of Foreign Affairs yesterday advised Filipino dual citizens who wish to travel to the Philippines to secure documents as proof of Philippine citizenship to prevent any inconvenience with airline companies and immigration authorities. This includes the valid Philippine passport, identification certificate or IC, or certificate of reacquisition or retention of Philippine citizenship or CRPC. The said document should also be presented upon departure. Failure to present the necessary document as required by the immigration authorities shall warrant the imposition of fines and penalties imposed on foreigners who overstayed in the country, the DFA said. Well, I talked to the consulate people yesterday at tinanong ko nga ito, hindi ba pwedeng magbiyahe? Pilipino ka, doon ka pinanganak, nagkataon lang naging citizen ka ng Canada or America. But you are not a dual citizen. May mag-asawa kasi, nagpatulong sa akin, nagpapatanong. Yung lalaki, pareha silang American citizen. Ang problema, yung lalaki dual citizen, yung babae hindi. So yung lalaki makakauwi po because of dual citizenship na status niya. Yung babae ngayon hindi dahil suspendido ang balikbayan program. Yung babae pwede po kung hindi suspendido ang balikbayan program ng Pilipinas. Sapagkat balikbayan yun. Sa pangalan pa lang Pilipino Saka ngayon, kung hindi siya dual citizen, he has to acquire or get or paid or magbayad ka ng visa. Ayan, Philippine visa to call or rather to travel to the Philippines. Considered foreigner na itong Pilipinang American citizen. Ang tanong, kailangan dito, kahit dual citizen ka, present your Philippine passport. Kaming mga dual citizen dito sa Canada, ala po kaming Philippine passport. Does it mean hindi kami matatanggap sa Pilipinas kahit dual citizen kami at ang ipipresenta namin yung Canadian passport namin? That is a gray area, very gray area. Hindi po ba? Kahit siya natin tingnan mukhang malabno yata yung walang asim biruin mo dual citizen kami, may documentation kami, pero wala kaming Philippine passport. Do we have to buy Philippine passport para tanggapin nyo kami ngayong may pandemic? Yan po ang iiwanan natin tanong sa Philippine Consulate at sa Department of Foreign Affairs. Salamat po. Well, magbabalik po ang Balitang Bayan News at 4 at ang tanong ito, magkakaroon daw ng Philippine-Canada Labor Agreement. Coming soon, sabi ng DOLE. Totoo ba to? Fake news or may kababalaghan? Magbabalik po ang News at 4.
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting.
News at 4 is back with your friend Mon Datol. At syempre po, salamat muli sa lahat ng mga frontliners, health workers at essential workers tulad po naming nasa media. At marami po sa aming nagkwentuhan nga nung tanggalin uli ng probinsya ng Ontario yung pagpapahinto or random checking ng mga pulis sa mga personal na vehicles, yung mga randomly no? Kasi yung una ng order ni Tata Kwan yun ni Tata Dog hika nga. Nawawala ngayon si Tata Dog Ford Yung pala, nag-isolate. Ha? Alam mo kung bakit DJ Rick? Aba, meron daw siyang staff na may symptoms. Yun, kaya nag-isolation. Saan kaya kumasa yun? Nagbibiro lang po kami, Tata Dog Ford. At any rate, kasi nga yung aming boss, binigyan na kami ng media ID At saka yung proof of proof of employment sa TOMz Radio at Toronto. Biro mo, bago na naman yung press ID, nakasabit na naman sa kotse. Ayun, ganun yan. Parang pag sinita ka, ayun, tatrabaho kami. Yung ganun. At any rate, ito po yung sinasabi ko, Philippine-Canada Labor Agreement daw coming soon, sabi ng DOLE. The Department of Labor and Employment may enter into a bilateral labor agreement with Canada in May or June on the deployment of migrant workers. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said this morning, siguro by May and June magkakaroon ng paglalagda, baka hindi nga abutin ng June, yung bilateral agreement with Canada, specifically yung province of Yukon. Yukon, dahil gusto nila na makuha yung ating mga street workers. Pakinggan niyo po. Mangangailangan daw ang probinsya ng Yukon ng street workers, mga teachers, mga chef. He said in an interview with ABS-CBN's Teleradio, i-Englishin natin. Maybe by May and June, we can sign a bilateral agreement with Canada, specifically the province of Yukon, because they want our street workers, teachers, and chef. Bello also said Russia had expressed had expressed interest in entering into a bilateral agreement with the Philippines for migrant workers. May nag-comment. Sabi nung isang nag-comment, Ricardo ang pangalan, Bello is ignoramus and deceitful secretary. He doesn't even know the most basic jurisdiction in Canada. Your agreement with Yukon province is not an agreement with Canada. Correct! Yukon is a province. Ang agreement sinasabi niya with Canada. Yukon, yung pong Yukon tulad ng Ontario, iba pong mga probinsya rito, has nominee program only if there is an employer who is willing to hire foreign workers. At yung sinasabi pong street worker for Yukon. Naknan Dragon, sabi ko nga. Dito nga sa Toronto, walang street worker May nagwawalis ba sa kalsada rito? Wala po. Baka sinasabi niyang street worker, yung nagtitinda sa kalye. Meron po. May mga nagtitinda sa Toronto pero may mga health con yun, certificate yun. O sinong gagawin nila? Ibig ba sabihin yung Yukon province maglalagay ng mga street food cart doon at ang pagtitindahin mga Pilipinong street worker. Hindi ba simple yung street workers? Anong trabaho sa Yukon ng street workers? Kailan sila magtatrabaho? Pag nag-winter po, pinakamalalamig sa mga lugar na yun. Kailan liwanagin ito ni Bello? No? Bello pala. Bello, whatever. Bello is the same. Silvestre Bello III ng Dole. Ayan. Ay, nako. Sana nga po. May mga provincial nominee po yun. Anyway, ang dami kasing gustong amuyong na magpasiklab kay Presidente. Anyway, kukonsulta po ka sa ating immigration consultant na Genesis kung totoong ang Yukon nangangailangan ng mga street workers. Okay, pwedeng mangailangan ng chef, yung ganon. Hello naman chef, kahit saan yan Pero street workers sa Yukon, I doubt. Department of Justice nagbabala sa mapanganib na video link sa Facebook. Nako, maraming nahuhumaling sa Facebook. Alright. Nagbabala ang Department of Justice sa mga Facebook users sa Pilipinas laban sa kumakalat na malisyosong video link na maaaring gamit ng mga spammers at mga scammers sa internet. Kahapon, napakaraming reklamo ang pinaabot ng mga Facebook users sa pagtatag sa kanila. Itatag po, hindi pagtatag na gano'n. Pagtatag sa kanilang pangalan sa mga video link na kapag binuksan ay isang adult video. Naranasan mo na ba yan na DJ Ricky Q? Ako? Oo, kumakalat. Pagbukas ko, bigla ko na lang isinar Baka spam na naman yung laptop ko. Well, nagbabala ang DOJ na huwag i-click ang anumang link dahil sa maaaring ma-activate nito ang malware na kukuha sa mga importing datos ng user. When clicked, it will result in the automatic and random tagging in the same post of other Facebook account user. Ayon sa DOJ Office of Cybercrime. Well, ayon sa DOJ OOC, natanggal na ang mga malisyosong page link at naparusahan na ang mga administrator nito noon. Maaari silang masampahan ng kasong paglabag sa Republic Act 10175 o ang Cybercrimes Prevention Act of 2012 nga. Anong pa palang 2012 yung cybercrime? Alright. Well, balita pong 20 sailors, ayan, missing from cargo vessel grounded in Surigao del Norte, sa Baguio ata ito Search and rescue operations are underway for 20 missing crew members of a cargo ship that ran around along the shoreline of Malimono in Surigao del Norte, the Philippine Coast Guard said yesterday. A Coast Guard spokesperson said the maritime incident involving LCT Cebu Great Ocean happened last Monday afternoon when rough sea conditions were reported due to Typhoon Bising International Lame Surigay. The cargo ship was said to be loaded with nickel ore and some 2,000 liters of diesel. PCG's station in the province said it deployed the team to search for the crew members and check for oil spill in the waters. Commodore Armand Balilo, PCG spokesperson, said the crew was forced to abandon ship following the incident and there was still contact with the life raft this morning. The operations, however, had been difficult due to strong waves. PCG also temporarily suspended the ops on Monday evening due to poor visibility and rough seas. The Coast Guard official added that 2 aerial inspections were done. Rescuers saw no sign of the missing crew. PCG said it's still investigating if the incident was due to bising or caused by human error. Sana po makita yun. 20 yun na. Alam makita. Hindi naman po lumubog yung kanilang sasakyan. Andun, nakadaong na lang sa apat. Tinangay, siguro malalakas na alon yun. Sana ligtas po lahat yan. Sana po ligtas. Well, kung inyo pong nabalitaan na yung maginhawa community pantry, yung po ay sumikat. Kumalat na po sa buong kamay nilaan yan sa NCR at iba pa pong mga malalapit na probinsya. Ito po, pati ang grupong kinabibilangan ng ating mga kaibigan sa LGBTQ. Ayan. LGBTQ group launches Rainbow Community Pantry. Pantry po. Naalala ko tuloy yung ating si Ian Santillan, yung kanyang Rainbow Connection. Well, from Manila, Philippines, April 21, LGBT organization Bahagari launched their own version of community pantry in Tatalaon, Quezon City. In their official Facebook page, the group posted photos of members holding placards of the pantry in gay language. Gumeching batay sa Nedin Lustre. Kumuha yata ng mga kailangan, Parang ganon, Ian. The group said that their pantry was already out of stocks before noon. Wow! And they thank people who donated for their initiative. Wala pang 12 noon, ubus na ang laman ng ating #Rainbow Pantry. Maraming salamat sa Tagug, Jama Pink at sa mga nag-donate, sabi ng grupo. Bahaghari also said that the community pantries all over the country do not have other motives other than to help those in need. Wala pong ulterior motives ang ating #community pantry. Talagang palpak ng gobyerno. Nanisip pa. Kaya tayo na lang to mga bestie, sabi nila. Well, wala na masisihan sa gobyerno. Kung gusto niyo pong magbigay na lang po kayo ng pusang loob. Lahat po ng bagay para sa inyo ay tinutulong na ng gobyerno. Ang problema nga lang po talaga, may mga member ng gabineto, ibang mga LGUs, ika nga natin, mga non-governmental organization na hindi mapigil yung kati ng kamay. Yung po ang problema, kaya galit na galit nga si Presidente Duterte. Hindi palpak ang gobyerno. Marami rin, hindi naman that much. May ilang mga kompo na talagang naluklok sa pwesto, nakikialam sa budget pinamimigay sa tao, tsaka yung pagbibigay ng mga goods, relief goods, inuuwi . Hindi po kapalpakan ng gobyerno yan, mga kasama natin sa LGBTQ. Kaibigan ko po yung grupo nyo, LGBTQ+++ pa nga yan . Hindi po, alisin natin sa isip na palpak pong palpak na gobyerno kahit sa buong mundo. May pagkukulang pero hindi palpak. Yan po ang isipin natin, walang palpak na gobyerno sa buong mundo. Kulang lang talaga. Sa serbisyo, hindi kapalpakan po yung may konting pagkukulang at yung maraming mga dayok-dok. Maraming mga bugok. Na imbis na itulong sa mga naghihirap, ninanakaw. Well, sabi nga ng grupo, wala pong ulterior motive ang #community pantry. The group vowed to be back tomorrow for more product to help the less fortunate. Sabi nga nila, bukas, attack ulit tayo for donation. Please drop them off. Ito po, sa mga nakikinig sa atin sa Pilipinas o sa Quezon City. Number 35, Scout Delgado, Barangay Laging Handa, Quezon City. Yan po ang bahaghari group ng LGBTQ group. Ayan, doon po kayo magdala. Ha? Kahit ano po, tigi-tigisang sardinas, tigi-tigisang kape, yung mga ganon, yung sobran nyo po sa bahay. Ha? Yung sobran lang sa bahay. Ako pinatawa kanina, meron po kasing napanood akong video. Ha? Ito po, totoo May 6 na babae. Pinuntahan yung isang maliit na pantry, ika nga na community pantry, kinuha lahat pati yung 2 tray na itlog. Nakuna ng video, nag-viral. Yung 6, sumama ang loob. Sinabi sa kanila, ba't yung kinuha lahat? Pinambigay naman daw doon sa kanilang mga kapitbahay na hindi makapunta doon sa lugar na yon. Alam niyo po, ganyan talaga ngayon Nakita 6 na babae, kinuha lahat yung nasa nakatiwangwang na yan sa lamesa. Nag-aapura pa nga Yung pala, sabi nila, tinanong din yung mga kapitbahay, binigyan po kanila kami ng ganon, pinamahagi din sa amin. Nahihiya na amin, 6, nag-viral sila, pinagkamalan silang magnanakaw at sakim. Hindi po kasakiman yan, pinamahagi lang. Pero ang dapat po yata, huwag niyong kukunin lahat. Yung mga taong gustong kinakapos, pumunta kayo. Kanya-kanya pong kuha. Hindi yung ganong, napagbintangan tuloy sila ng kwan. Mga sakim. Okay po. Maganda po yung nangyayari. Sabi nga ng Malacanang, huwag niyong pakialaman, sabi sa mga pulis. Huwag niyong i-red tag. Tama lang po yun. Tumutulong lang sila. Pero sana nga po, yun lang, walang ulterior motive. Sabi nga nung Rainbow Connection. Yung Rainbow Group. Balit ng showbiz. Ayan. ABS-CBN files $40 million lawsuit versus 40 pirate sites. Ayan ABS-CBN. Media entertainment giant ABS-CBN Corporation has filed a $40 million lawsuit in the US against 40 domains pirating ABS-CBN's content and infringing its copyright and trademarks. The lawsuit entitled ABS-CBN versus 123 fullpinoymovieshop.com. Nako. Doon nata maraming lumalabas na DJ, libre libre pala. Ba't inihahablang ngayon ng ABS-CBN? Libre nga, pero kumukuha na advertisement dun sa site. Ayun. It was filed by the company in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida. ABS-CBN said the court recently issued the preliminary injunctions against the 40 pirate domains to take down the domains with the serving notice. We see it as our job to protect the consumer from the dangers that pirated content brings and at the same time provide quality content for their enjoyment. ABS-CBN Managing Director of North and Latin America, June Del Rosario, said, in 2019, ABS-CBN won an anti-piracy case in the U.S. after the U.S. Federal District Court in Florida ordered 27 pirate site operators to pay $1 million each in damages to the Filipino company. The said sites were found streaming portals that offers access to Filipino content in the US and abroad. Ayan po. Mananalo na naman dito ABS-CBN. Biruin mo yun. Ngayon ko lang naintindihan. Tama yung in-explain ni DJ Ricky Q. Libre naman pinapanood ng tao. Yun naman. Kaya sila inihabla. Nagbebenta naman yung nasabing site na yun ng mga commercial malaki yan. Malaki dahil daming milyon ang nanonood din milyon din ang babayaran nila. $40 million US yan million suit. Well, yan po ang ating Balitang Bayan News at 4. Ngayong araw na to, nagpapasalamat pong muli kami sa lahat ng sumusuporta at patuloy pong tumataguyod sa ating TOMz Radio Toronto. Alright po, ito po inyong kaibigan Mondatol. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting